Welcome everyone. Adam the Woo here. As the recording of this is Monday, October 9th, 2023. I'm wearing a non-appropriate shirt for anything, but it is collared because I am not going to any events today. I'm not going to be doing anything in particular other than walking down Water Street here in Celebration, Florida, where I reside, going around the water, Lake Reinhardt, the lake up here at the forefront of Market Street, and just having a little walk and talk about some things that I have on my mind. Gonna get a coffee, consume that while I just talk about what's on my mind. Back from a very lengthy, I've been back for a couple days. This is the first time to have a little chat because I did events the last couple days since I've returned. But today is just a casual day. In fact, later I have to go down to visit my parents in St. Cloud and my aunt and uncle, who I have not seen. My mom is the oldest of 8, and her brother and his wife, my aunt and uncle, are there visiting. I haven't seen them in a few months, or no, a few years, since pre-2020. 2019 is probably the last time I saw them. So we're gonna have dinner a little bit later. I'll be off camera, obviously. So I'm gonna have just a little stroll, a little walk and talk, a little family time later, off camera. And I got some things on my mind. Jet lag is a real thing. Jet lag is basically another terminology for not knowing where the heck, what time zone you are and what time it is other than looking at a clock, when your internal alarm thinks to itself, where the heck am I? That is how I'm feeling at this particular moment. I'm gonna have a little walk and talk. I'm inviting you to join me. Not sure why I have a collared shirt on, but I do. Shall you? One thing that's nice about this little, we're here on Water Street, this little ravine, if you will, it's disguised by the main area over here. So you got the park, then you have Market Street. The Water Street turns into Market Street, but the water goes underneath the road, shimmies that direction underneath the post office and off into the lake over there. But when you're on Market Street, you wouldn't realize that that is there. Yeah, I have no recollection of what time it is though. Jet lag has never really hit me this hard before, but because it's 6-hour difference earlier, 6 hours earlier in Hawaii where I was, and now it's you're getting those, losing those 6 hours coming back here to the East Coast. It's really thrown me off. I'm going to talk about some plans, mostly for 2024, but I'm going to start peppering in those said plans into the rest of this year. Got some things on my mind, some things I want to change that I've been thinking about for quite some time, and I want to also express some disappointment I have in not only the Rays postseason, Tampa Bay Rays, a team that I have followed very adamantly for the next 2 or 3 years. 2 years intently, a half a year from the year before. So let's say 2.5 years really intently. 3 years, kind of, sort of. I used to live in California, would go to Angels games, and I also lived here. I was kind of bi-coastal. So I had 2 teams, if you will. I had the Angels and I had the Rays, but for some reason I never really latched on to the Angels. I didn't like going to the games as much as I did like going to the Trop with DJ Kitty and Raymond, and just the hype and the excitement. Something about the Rays I really latched onto, and when I gave up the Anaheim place and moved out here, I went all in a couple years ago and have been to 18 stadiums rooting for the Rays. And if I had to guess, I don't really put a complete number on it, but I've probably been to 30, maybe 40, even upwards of high 40s of the home games that I've driven 2.5, sometimes with traffic more than that, one way over to St. Pete and then back. Very lengthy days getting over to those home games. And then also the away stadiums that I've gone to, 17, and then plus the 18 would be Tropicana Field, and some of those 2 and 3 4-game series. So I put a lot into it. Spring training obviously last year was at Disney, so really have, you know, listening to the games, watching the scores, watching on TV when they're not blacked out. One thing good about traveling is those games are not blacked out. When I'm local, I cannot watch the games on the MLB app or anything like that. So it's I just will go to the games if there's a game going on while I'm in town. But when I'm on the road and I'm not going to their away games, I'll just watch. I'll watch it in the hotel, or, you know, somewhere else on my phone, or I'll throw it up and tether it up to the TV. So their postseason run the last couple of years was not good. And I am disappointed not only in the team that they have only scored 1 run out of the last 4 postseason games. They lost last year to the Cleveland Guardians, and then this year they lost to the Texas Rangers. Swept in both series, 2 out of 3. They lost 2 out of the first 3 in both of those. Last year I was able to go to Cleveland, went to both games, witnessed the walk-off for the Indians in the 15th inning, hit the left field. The season was over. This year I had plans, family plans with my mom. I was in Hawaii, and I was not, regrettably, I was not able to be at the Trop to watch the team that I root for, that I'm really into, lose. And I kind of feel like I let them down in a way, even though I'm not on the team, I'm not a part of the coaching staff, I do not pick up a bat, I am not playing in the field, but I just kind of feel like, in a weird way, that they needed me there. I mean, a really low turnout there, and I was really planning on going to the ALDS, which have been happening tonight. If they would have won, they would be in Baltimore now, but now it is the Rangers in Baltimore, and I had planned on flying from here when I returned, flying up there to Baltimore, going to that series, and hopefully the ALCS and the World Series, but it was not meant to be. And that brings me to my next point. Next year, I have 12 more stadiums to knock off my list before I've done all 30 stadiums while the Rays are there. Now, I know a lot of times people will say, oh, you've been to this stadium that you're not mentioning. However, I am only counting ones where my team, the Rays, are playing. I think it's kind of a neat thing, or a neat project, a challenge, to go to all the stadiums, to be a bystander that's watching something, a fan of a team, if you will, that's going to all the stadiums while your team is playing there, when you are not part of the coaching staff, the players family, none of that. You're so into it, you want to go to all those and knock those off your list. So next year I have 12 of those, and those will be some of the small percentage of things that I will be doing that are on a pinpointed date stamped list. Talk a little bit more about that. I want to get away from date stamped events and lists, with the exception, next year I got to do the baseball stuff. That'll be one of the I don't want to say the only things, but definitely going to taper back on date stamped events. I need coffee. Pumpkin spice latte for Adal. A-D-A-L. I haven't gotten that one before. I've gotten Allen quite a few times, but never Adal. Yeah, pumpkin spice lattes are pretty dang good. Usually I do Pike's Place, which is a little cream and sugar. But you know what? It's October. And again, with the jet lag, it's nice to have a little extra kick for Adal. I'm a little tired of doing events and conventions, and I'm gonna say theme parks too. I'm not completely over it. I'm not gonna cold turkey any of those things, but definitely need some me time, some alone time, some on the road time. My hair, I don't know what's going on with my hair right now. Got the little Superman swirl right there, kind of, sort of, but almost like a little, that's like quite the little hair nod down there. I thrive, it's interesting, I thrive and I'm more comfortable kind of being alone. It seems like that might not be the case, how videos are presented. Sometimes the camera gives me a little, well, I guess motivation in a way, but also makes me comfortable around groups of people. I feel more comfortable when I'm alone. I want to say I have social anxiety and social awkwardness. And I've always kind of been that way, even since I was very young. I started working retail when I was 17 in 1991, and that kind of broke me out of my shyness a little bit. But even after doing that for a couple of decades, and now doing this for 11 years, 12 years, 13 years, I started doing videos in late 2009, 2010. And then I quit my retail job, last retail job I had in August of 2011, and moved in the van, traveled, did stuff like that, started doing the road stuff, the theme park stuff, the abandoned stuff, the movie locations, all that. Really kind of started hitting that hard in 2011. And over time, morphed into doing a variety of content for the last last decade or so, where going to events that are very, very people-filled. So obviously people say hello. I will have people, interview people, talk to people. They will, either on camera or off camera, people will say hello as well. So I have gotten used to being around groups of people. being in the thick of it. But it's never really been a comfortable thing for me. It's never like, usually when I'm with a group of 1 or 2, I'm okay, but it gets bigger than that. I don't feel comfortable. So call it social anxiety, call it awkwardness, social awkwardness, call it whatever you want. Call it just, I know how I am, and I definitely thrive better when a percentage of the time I'm alone. I mean, I love my friends, I love my family, but man, when I am in the groove by myself, I feel pretty good. And my hair, it is not, I don't know what's going on. And also, while I'm just talking about stuff, really do not want to get on a plane for a while. Now, I might have to. I have something at the end of the month that, I mean, I've already got it booked, but I don't necessarily have to make it happen. Again, a lot of the stuff that I'm kind of spouting off will be transpiring post-Halloween. So the rest of this month, it might not really apply, but it heavily is on my mind. And 2024 is going to be some major callbacks to like the old Adam the Woo style. I'm not bringing the song back. In fact, a lot of people say, oh, you should bring back the Don't Even Ask Your Mom song, the Aw, You Know What Son, back. But that was never on this channel. That song's never been on the DailyWoo channel. So I'm not going to be bringing back that. And I'm not going to be bringing back abandoned stuff, at least not, you know, too deep into the abandoned stuff because of legal reasons and whatnot. But I definitely miss being on the road, doing back roads, being in a vehicle, not being on a plane. So that's going to be coming back, harking back in later this year and 2024. So that's basically the main statement. I love doing these daily videos. It's like a comfort factor. It makes me feel good putting something out there. It motivates me to go out every day and do something. And it's almost like a habit, muscle memory in a lot of ways, but also a creative outlet. And it's I'm trying to draw on a blank on what the word would be. It puts my mind at ease. This is just something I'm used to doing. This is what I do. And it generates income to where I'm able to travel and do things and, you know, live a life as well that is completely vastly different than it was when I was working retail. And I was stuck in one place, I was punching a clock, doing a 9 to 5 banker's hours. I didn't work at a bank, but it was basically around, you know, what you would consider that type of job. This is the most unusual, bizarre, weirdest job that I've ever had. And I've done it for so long that it's just normal for me. And I can't even recall what my mindset was like before this because I've been doing this for so long. I don't know where I was going with that. Well, I got back in town a couple days ago. I gotta be truthful, when I pulled back in here, I was like, wow, I really love being here. I love having a place here. I love residing in Celebration, Florida. It is beautiful and awesome. Mom and Dad live in the general area. They're about a half hour from here. I love Walt Disney World and all that goes along with that. But I immediately didn't want to be here. I immediately started to think, it's time to start planning another trip. And I am really biting my tongue on those thoughts, or biting my brain on those thoughts, because I need to stay put for just a little bit, at least until, you know, till close to the end of the month. So I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm forcing myself, but I'm forcing myself to stay put, do some events, don't go too far. And sometimes, you know, when you're traveling for a long period of time, when you get back locally, last thing you want to do is get in your car and drive 3 hours to find some small town 3 hours from here and then round trip come back. So it's like a 6-hour day. So sometimes I default to just going to an event or going to the theme park and showing some updates and things like that, because don't want to travel too far when I am home, which I am rarely ever home. I was gone for like 5 weeks, I was back a week, I was gone for 3 weeks, I was back a week, and this last trip I was gone for 5.5 weeks. So really, in the last three and a half months, I've been in town for about 3 weeks. So need to stay put, plan out some other stuff, but I am already getting itchy feet and getting restless to hit the road again. And just kind of be alone with my thoughts and out on the open plains of the US. Small towns, forgotten areas, places that do not get any coverage. And That's what I need to be doing. I'm always going to be an annual pass holder to Disney on both coasts. That's always going to continue. In fact, I have booked a trip for next August to Southern California for D23. I've already booked my hotel. D23 is always quite the extravaganza. So that is one convention I will be going to next year, but I will not be going to Dragon Con, and a lot of the conventions I usually will go to every year, traditional type of things. Not, what's the word? Not habits. Well, I guess they'd be habits. But when you do something all the time, and a tradition, yeah, traditional. Traditions of conventions are going to be kind of going by the wayside, and I do not want to have a set place I have to be on a set day. Like, I kind of want that to just go away. And I feel like it's going to go away if I just make that the new habit. Like, just don't do it. Don't feel like, oh, I got to be there for this and I got to be there for that. There's a lot of stuff that is covered by a vast amount of people in the theme park world, the convention world. And sometimes I feel like, even though it is stuff that I am really into and I want to promote those events because I like to do what I love, sometimes I feel like the wheels have been overspun. Again, not going to go cold turkey, not going to stop completely, still going to do some Disney videos, but I feel, you know, in convention videos here and there, but I feel like 75% of what I need to be doing is out on the road. It needs to be in a car. I don't know if I'll ever buy another van again. Probably will never buy another RV again, but staying in smaller hotels, getting in the car, and just traveling. Really 3/4 of what I'm doing to make myself sane and to put out what I really want to be putting out is, there's a B around my head, needs to be devoted to that in 2024, and maybe even peppered into the end of 2023. Again, this isn't going to start tomorrow, but it'll start soon. And to be honest, another honest thing, when it comes to conventions, theme parks, populated events, they are some of the most difficult things for me to film. I know that's going to sound strange, but it really is. With, you know, you got to work around not filming people. You don't want to have people super up in the camera, so you got to work around certain things, not wanting to show certain things, music blaring everywhere that you have to work around. Again, I enjoy going to all those places, and that's not going to stop. It's just going to be tapered back just a little bit. But there's definitely a more peaceful, less stressful, and a good mindset happens when I'm just out on my own. And I've tried in the past to cater only to that, and I always get pulled back in. But I think over the last few years, I've just come to the resolution, I guess you could say. It's the early New Year's resolution, even though it's a couple months off. The revelation that that's really what makes me feel at ease. And I think a lot of people want to just see that, because there's not a lot of people doing that type of stuff. Where it seems like everyone and their brother and their sister and their cousin and their nephew and their dog's previous owners picking up a camera and doing the stuff I just mentioned. There's nothing wrong with that. But no one's reinventing the wheel here. We're all spinning the same wheel. Got a little squirrel right here crossing the path. And I say when a black cat crosses your path, it's bad luck. But when it's a squirrel, a gray squirrel, it's good luck. I just made that up, but... a lot of squirrels. I had to veer off this other path. The person that was behind me walking had a little bit of a cough. And just to talk a little bit more about the social thing. So obviously when you're around big groups of people, you know, I do a lot of conventions and theme park stuff and, you know, those type of events. Obviously other people that are there, a percentage of them know who I am, want to say hello, come up and say hi, which is always great to meet people. Sometimes I don't really know what to say. I don't know where to go with the conversation.
Because when I started this, I obviously just wanted to put videos out there. I never saw it as any sort of small, moment of like a fame thing, even though it's like, called an F-list celebrity, like just like not even a celebrity, but like way below celebrity status. But I never thought that anyone would know who I was or recognize me or see me. Even though you're being put out on the internet, you see the numbers, and I think part of the comfort of picking up a camera, part of the comfort in talking to a camera is you don't really realize when you're starting that the numbers that people that are watching are real people, and then as it starts to grow, you start to realize that those are real people who are interacting, kindred spirits, if you will, and when people see you out in public, they want to say hello. Sometimes I don't know how to react to that, again, with the social anxiety and the awkwardness. It's kind of I still haven't wrapped my head around it completely. And to this day, I still sometimes don't know how to react. I'm always taken back by it, and I'm always grateful and honored by it. But it's always, my brain cannot function. So sometimes I go into like a deer in the headlights, like, what do I say? What do I do? Did I give the person that wants to say hello enough attention? Not enough attention? I don't know how to handle the situation. And I'm sure I can't be the only person that feels that way as well. And I think I'm feeling this way because I've just done so many events lately. The baseball games, I went to like a ton of stadiums today, and now doing baseball videos, now people at games are saying hello. And the convention thing is a whole other gamut of people that are there that want to say hi. So I've just done too much of it this year. Probably what I should have done is done just the baseball stuff and then tapered back on the conventions. But because I was doing conventions so heavily, theme parks so heavily, so many flights, the baseball thing, having to go to all the places to knock out those stadiums in preparation for next year, to knock out the other stadiums, to be able to do all 30 stadiums before the end of next year, got me doing things out of my comfort zone. And I was pretty comfortable sitting on a plane, obviously sitting in those seats and being comfortable. Like, it's not even a comfort thing as far as like my body being comfortable, because that's not the issue. It's like a mental comfort, stepping out of your mental comfort zone. People have words for it. Health, comfort. There's a bug on my ear. So I just need to change some things up, and you're going to see some changes. I'm going to see some changes. I always in my mind, when I got back into town, I was like, should I buy another van? Should I start doing the van thing again? I will never buy another RV again, at least not for a long, long time. It was just too inconvenient. And then I'm like, should I get a van, make a bed in the back again, start doing road trips, obviously keep the place here, but then when I'm traveling out for a month at a time, I don't always have to be getting hotels. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I think the correct answer for me would be to just keep the car I have, travel around in the car, and just stay in smaller hotels in little towns and focus on the little towns. Similar to how Charles Kuralt did things back in the day with On the Road, or Huell Hauser did California Gold. Both of those guys wouldn't necessarily say they were inspiration, but I definitely look up to the type of stuff that they were putting out there. And I feel like that would be a good avenue to go down. I guess what it boils down to is I just need a break for what I've been doing. Thinking out loud and drinking coffee. A dial. ADAL. Yeah, I never started doing videos for the recognition. Obviously, everyone likes to be liked. Everyone wants people to watch the videos they're putting out there. No one's putting a video out there for no one to watch it. So that is something that's very awesome. Again, did not put that people were the numbers. And it took me a long time to grasp that concept. And still, doing this pretty heavily over the last decade or more, I still haven't got the comfort factor of meeting people. Love meeting people, but it's just not completely 100% comfortable. There's always a couple little percentage. I've used the word percentage. If you're playing a drinking game, how many times I say percentage, it probably would not end well for you. But I'm getting there. Maybe in another 10 years I'll have it dialed in. But I've never talked about this before, so I figured I would kind of talk about that. Maybe it's the jet lag talking. Maybe it's the not caffeine hasn't hit my system yet. Maybe it's the Adal in me speaking. I'm sitting right here on this bench, by the way. I've had a few little. Also thinking about where I want to end up. Where do I want to live one day? Do I want to get a place here? Right now I rent. Do I want to buy a place in Celebration? Probably not. Do I want to end up in Florida? Yeah, probably not. Do I want to end up in California? Probably not. I'm always thinking. As far as the very near future goes, talking about the next week or two, definitely have a couple more Halloween events planned. Do want to stop into the Disney World theme parks. I haven't been in there in like 2 months, month and a half. Check out some of the new items that have opened and are about to open. You know, when you're gone for 5.5, 6 weeks and you return to a place you're an annual pass holder at, do not, this is a new sign. Please not feed the wildlife. Things change, and I do have a love of the Disney parks, so I want to pop in and see that. But I feel like after I go in and cover that, I'm going to be ready to roll. Formulating some things in my mind, and I got some ideas. But I can't do, you know, the rest of this year will play out as it has. But I can't do another year of doing the same old I've done for the last few years. And it's something I created for myself, so it's not like a bad thing. Oh, there's a gator over there. I'll zoom in on the gator in a minute. It's not a bad thing. It's just it's a habit I have wedged myself into, and I need to break away from the date stamped certain day events that have really kind of binded me down in a lot of ways. I'm guilty of that. I don't know the word I'm trying to find. So I can't do this. I can't do that another year. So again, the rest of this year might kind of be par for the course, but you know, after the holidays are over, and maybe even before then, I might not even be able to make it through this end of this year before just hightailing it and taking it back old school. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And it's going to be a little grainy when I zoom in here on Cool. But there is Cool the Gator swimming around. Yeah, I'm really disappointed in the Rays, Cool. Really disappointed that they choked in the postseason. And really disappointed I couldn't be there for them. Just did not work out. I had the whole month set aside for Division Series, Championship Series, and hopefully the World Series. Also, Howard the decoy duck is gone. And this clarifies it. There was a pole there that Howard was covering. Will Howard the duck return? Who knows? It's a possibility. Right there. And obviously a lot of friends, family, acquaintances, people that I know, people that I pass, people that say hello, all say, oh, sorry about the Rays, sorry the Rays lost. And while that is a valid statement, I think what a lot of people, well, maybe I just haven't vocally said it, but for me, it wasn't the fact that the Rays lost. Let me zoom in again on where Howard was. It wasn't even an issue with the Rays losing. It's more of a sadness that I wasn't able to be there when they lost. I just wanted to be there for them, and I mean, it's always next year. Things will change, and they'll probably make it to the postseason next year. They're going to have a great team. They just can't close the deal in the postseason. Next year, I will not make the same mistake that I made this year. Again, that will be one of the exceptions for having a date stamp thing. The baseball thing is going to continue next year, but the other things I mentioned,
I just kind of want to wipe that slate clean as far as having to be somewhere at a certain time, be in a certain place at a certain time. I need, you know, I need to roam. I have built up this, whatever it is, over a decade of, you know, putting my nose to the grind. There's a gator over here. And I kind of feel like I just am making it more stressful on myself than it needs to be. Right, Cool? Cool agrees.
There's one out there.
Alright, I'll see you in the next video, the vlog. Thanks for the pep talk, Cool. Thanks for the pep talk, Cool. The vlog is over.